Clint, it's the brand new Women's Super League season, York Valkyrie newly rebranded. What was the thought behind that rebranding in the first place?
It was a pretty simple one, mate. It's about giving young girls right through the ability to see themselves in an icon. I'm not going to ask the men to play for the princesses, so I'm not going to ask the women to play for the knights. Simple as that.
A successful year last year, winning the League Leaders' Shield. How important is the women's team to the whole of the York organisation?
Well, I think it's important to the whole city. There's a real opportunity there for York as a city to have, a team competing at the top of a competition, and that just happens to be the Women's Super League. So from an organisational standpoint, we're just hoping to incrementally get better and better, as the seasons go on. There's no secret we like silverware, but who doesn't? So we'll keep going for it.
This is where I look to Phil, but I'm sure I know the answer to this anyway. York would have been, the women's team last year would have been the first ever York team to finish top of a Rugby League top division. So they're leading the way for the men in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Silverware's a winner, isn't it? So, the whole club's really trying to, get to that stage.
Obviously, it's a great opportunity this season, brand new Super League season, but also the Challenge Cup final moving to Wembley, and anyone involved in Rugby League, that is the biggest prize of the lot to walk out under the arch these days, and for the women a great opportunity to go there this year.
It's exciting for everyone. I think it's extra incentive, isn't it? So the players, I think from all clubs can see that as kind of a, to be the first, but just have the opportunity, it's the opportunity of a lifetime.
We're about to go into a new era for Rugby League in this country. Where does the women's game fit in with everything else in this new IMG sphere of influence?
I think IMG are, they're the best at sports and entertainment in the world. I think we'd be silly not to listen to what they have to say, but I think they'd also be silly not to see where the growth is. When you look at the women's game, whether it be, I'm just looking at York as an example. Commercially, there's massive growth there for us this year. Attendance-wise, I expect those numbers will continue to climb, in attendance as they did last year. You look at the World Cup, that's the biggest crowd that stadium's ever held, and that was Women's Rugby League. And then you look at, the viewing numbers on BBC and Sky. If they're a business to the nature to which I think they are, I think they have, a good grip on what the opportunity looks like moving forward.
And in Lindsay Anfield, a coach, a director of rugby, who's been there, done that, got everything, and hopefully will take you to further glory this year.
Yeah, there's no one more passionate, and as someone who gets to work with her, on a daily basis, it's great. You can't help but feed off her energy and her commitment. There's an obsession there that we share, and it makes it easier to get up and go to work, and it probably makes it challenging in some ways because we want to get it right, and it is something that we have to incrementally grow organically, but we're just trying to put as much horsepower behind it as we can.
The facility and partnership that you've got with York St John as well, Yep. How important has that been for the women to accelerate their development?
Oh, it's huge. It's huge for the club. When I wasn't here, obviously, years ago, but, when you talk to people at the club who have been through the full journey with York for the last 20 years, former players, coaches, the GM's been there pretty much the last 10 years. It's such a pivotal moment when that York St John partnership was formed. It was before the stadium was built. It gave us a real sense of home, even though we were playing out of various places, to get together and have an area where you could call home. And now that partnership's just grown and grown. We have Holly Dodd, who is a student, and that was something that came together, and we're able to bring an education to her through rugby league and through the club as well in partnership with them. AJ Towers, he's another one who's a student at York St John, and it's just a partnership that's growing from strength to strength. We're really excited. Get them on the camera. Yeah.
Looking forward to marketing the club to North Yorkshire as much as the city of York, which is something that you've proved you can do with the big games. Does it help to have a women's arm to be able to do that? Is there a new audience out there that you can attract?
Absolutely. I think, again, we go back to looking at the pure numbers of it from a business standpoint. The growth is in the women's game. The participation in junior numbers in the community clubs, the interest that we have from a corporate standpoint, the participation in hospitality from women now is going through the roof. And, we've got to find different avenues to bring talent to York. So to me, to jump in and be another one on the corridor trying to develop talent probably, we're not going to be at the top of the pecking order. So we've got to get creative, and we've got to get in the car, and we've got to go north. We've got to go to these areas that are, I consider, rugby league areas, but we've got to bridge that gap, not wait for them to come to us. So, that's a part of what we're doing development-wise for the women and the men.